Good morning and welcome to the All Things M365 Conference Kickoff Session. My name is Karen Mann and I'm an M365 Administrator here at the North Carolina Department of Information Technology. We're excited to present today's conference, which will include 8 sessions designed to help you get the most out of M365 products. If you are new to Teams, I'm sharing a slide that shows how to use the various buttons on your screen. First, we're going to hear from James Weaver, NCDIT Secretary and State Chief Information Officer, who will give the welcome address. Then Sherry Reed from Microsoft will showcase the video, Empowering Productivity in a Hybrid Environment. Finally, Michael Ware, CIO for the NCDEQ, will deliver the keynote address, DEQ's Journey Through the Microsoft Verse. Right now, I'd like to turn it over to Secretary Weaver to give the welcome address.
Thank you, Karen. And good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's NCDIT's All Things Microsoft 365 conference. You know, it's no secret that the way we work has changed dramatically in the recent years. COVID-19 pandemic truly disrupted our traditional ways of working from the office and how we communicated with each other. But rather than focus on disruption, the pandemic did serve as the ultimate CIO. I jokingly refer to it as the Chief Innovation Officer. It challenged us to look at new ways to use technology. It highlighted our ability to be agile and to show that IT has the ability every day to meet the needs of all North Carolinians. COVID-19 also forced us to try new work models, and many of us are now in a hybrid work environment that's very different even from the fully remote or the in-person work models. Our team members might be working from home, the office, or both. And actually, in some cases, I hate to say, maybe out of our vehicles as well as we're on the road. We're more online than ever before, and that makes it more important than ever that we have secure solutions for not only remote and hybrid workforces. People remain our first line of defense, and unfortunately, also our greatest vulnerability. AI tools are making it even easier for threat actors to launch more sophisticated phishing attacks, let these bad actors gain access to our credentials and our networks. So here in DIT, we are trying to adopt new tools and methodologies to help all workers to keep our devices safe and secure. And as an example, I think over the recent months, many of you have seen the migration from Proofpoint to Defender for email services. So we've rolled out the report message button to over 70,000 users to safeguard against malicious emails and make it easier to report. We've also deployed multi-factor authentication to add another layer of security to online accounts beyond the username and password. And I might just add a fun fact here that 95% of ransomware attacks could have been prevented with multi-factor authentication being implemented within the environment. That's how important MFA is to our basic defenses. With this foundational level of security, DIT continues to adopt flexible work schedules or work solutions, so that whether we're in the living room or in the boardroom or the conference room, we can collaborate with our team members. DIT currently has more than 61,000 active daily users who work together with the tools in Microsoft 365. Just some fun facts. We bring in office and at-home staff together through calls and video chats. In the last 6 months alone, we held over 28,000 meetings, which approximates to about 1,400 meetings each workday. We're working more efficiently and productively as we get personalized tips to incorporate a virtual commute and protect our time as we work from home. We are executing team projects virtually with shared tools and resources that empower us to analyze data, automate processes, build apps, and improve the customer experience. We are connecting to the public and partners and other agencies through forms, surveys, and polls. We collected nearly 127,000 responses, including 65,000 anonymous responses from the public just in the past 6 months alone. Delivering the best services and security to the people of North Carolina while working remotely requires continual learning. That is why we are committed to holding these training events such as this annual conference. We have launched Learning Pathways, which offers links to Microsoft training and tips for the M365 products. Our All Things M365 user group in Teams is the state's largest community of practice for everything Microsoft 365. In this group, we also host M365 Ninja question and answer sessions. You can get advice and tips to learn how to increase your productivity and be more efficient. It is open to everyone. If you have not joined yet, I encourage you to do so. You can find links to both of these resources in our All Things M365 newsletter, which you should be receiving in your email each month. To say I'm excited by the learning that will take place through these channels in this conference today is understated. But before we begin the great sessions that are planned for you, I do want to thank the conference team who has worked over the past few months and the presenters, most of whom are DIT members, for their hard work in pulling this together. I also want to extend a personal thank you to Mike Ware for agreeing to be the keynote and talking a little bit from a personal experience and how M365 is facilitating the work that they're doing within their agency. I expect that we will find new ways to work more productively and more efficiently and effectively serve our state. So with that, I hope everyone has a great day. Enjoy, please learn, ask questions. There's a number of resources that are in this conference today, from Microsoft to our experts or subject matter experts within the M365 environment. If you have a question, do not let it go unanswered. Thank you, and again, have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Secretary Weaver. And now we will hear from Sherry Reed of Microsoft.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for the warm welcome. I'm happy to be here to represent Microsoft. My job as a customer success manager is to help NCDIT make the most of the products that have been purchased by the state and the citizens. We love to partner with North Carolina DIT and all the associate agencies. I hope you enjoy the event today and learn more about the incredible productivity that the Microsoft 365 solutions can bring you in your daily work life. Let's take a look at a short video to learn more. And thank you again for joining today.
We've been thinking a lot about work, where we work, when we work, how we work, even why we work. And here's what we found. Somewhere between hustle culture and quiet quitting lies possibility. Ambition is brewing. People have dreams and ideas and things to accomplish, and we want to help them turn their ambition into action. Work is people, empowered with the right tools, working with other people to create magic. Work is people in 9 different time zones starting a project, creating something brand new. It's AI, acting as your coach and your assistant, helping you complete your thought, nudging you to take a break, seeking out the right clause in a sea of contracts with the confidence that it's all done securely. Microsoft 365 works for you, helping you build momentum each day, from that first spark to the big reveal. Because work doesn't have to be a place, or a time, or a task list, or a slog. Work can be your pride and joy, your creation, your magic. And we're here for it. For you, for everyone. Wherever, whenever, and however you do it.
All right, thank you again for joining. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Sherry. And now I'd like to introduce Mike Ware, CIO for the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality, who will deliver the keynote address, DEQ's Journey Through the Microsoft Verse.
All right. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here today to talk to you about an exciting and timely topic, using Microsoft 365 and hybrid workspaces. As we navigate the ever-evolving landscape in the 21st century, M365 has emerged as a powerful suite of tools that can help organizations thrive in the era of hybrid work. Today, I'll be sharing with you how M365 can enable collaboration, productivity, and flexibility in the hybrid workspace, and why it's an essential tool for modern organizations. That was written by ChatGPT. My name is Mike Ware. I'm the CIO for the Department of Environmental Quality, DEQ, and I'm going to talk about hybrid work and DEQ's journey through the Microsoft Verse. During the discussion, I'm going to be distracting, lose my place in my speech, tell some good jokes that may be subjectively bad jokes, and wind through some stories that may or may not resonate with you. My objective is to get you excited about how you can use the tools we have available to make your job and the services your agencies provide to North Carolina citizens and constituents better. Primarily learning that from sessions that come after this and from people who are much smarter than me. I think we all remember that week when we went home for COVID. They said, go home, work from home. Some people panicked. They took their desktops and their monitors and their printers home. Some threw up their hands. How am I going to print from home? I always think, who are you printing for? You're at home. You're going to drive to your boss's house, put it in the mailbox or the front step, run back to your car, then send an email and say, I just dropped off that report. Yes, some people panic, but IT, we got excited. Finally, it's here. We can do this. So to give you a little history and show why I'm passionate about M365 and similar products that facilitated dynamic employee and work experience, I started at NCDIT in 2014. I was given a lot of room to explore. And what I learned that DIT had recently moved to Office 365, but only using it for email. I knew where we needed to go. DIT didn't have a functional intranet, no IM capability or collaboration platform. The Office 365 came with the license, came with SharePoint and OneDrive, and I could see where we needed to go, but I couldn't do that. I just didn't have the skills. So I do what I really like to do and hire someone smarter than me. I hired Rod Parrish. If you're working in SharePoint, you know who Rod Parrish is. He's the SharePoint whisperer. So Rod and I, mostly Rod, laid out a plan, governance model, and made some working SharePoint pages and went live in October 2015. We even had a cake that said DIT rocks. Then we went on a roadshow and extended this to other agencies. So most of the cabinet agencies that have their SharePoint roots based on that rollout. And when I was assigned to be CIO for DEQ in 2016, I rolled out SharePoint and OneDrive there in the same way I rolled it out to DIT. I did the same for OSHR in 2017. While it takes resource time from the business and at least one SharePoint administrator, there are no other license costs. To this day, there are no additional storage costs for SharePoint or OneDrive. And since then, other productivity applications have just grown. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. But we have a suite of productivity tools that allow us to use most of these tools for free. If it doesn't work, we've already done the prep work, the process map, the requirements, the workflows. We know what does and doesn't work. Now we can make an informed procurement for something that does work for us. None of that effort was wasted. But that's enough of that. I don't want to grind that out anymore, just giving some background, like trying to prep for the next Marvel movie. What do I need to know in preparation for that movie? Do I have to watch Endgame again? Fun fact, sharing from Secretary Weaver. If you're ever really having a hard time on that last mile or two on the treadmill, just put on the last 45 minutes of Avengers Endgame, all action. You'll forget you're even running. As we all know, the way we work has dramatically changed over the past few years. COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated the adoption of hybrid work, where employees can work both in the office and remotely. This new way of working presents both opportunities and challenges for organizations. On one hand, it offers greater flexibility for employees, improves work-life balance, and opens up access to a global talent pool. On the other hand, it poses challenges in terms of managing remote teams, fostering collaboration, and ensuring data security. That was written by ChatGPT. DEQ's Journey BC before COVID. There were two significant things we did at DEQ prior to the pandemic. First, Microsoft Teams was just released a few months earlier, and we had to set up these weekly training sessions every Friday to get people familiar with the technology and try to speed up adoption. When Teams hit, I created a DIT at DEQ Rocks team. That's the name of my team and associated channels for my staff. So every time they use it, they have a subconscious reminder that they rock, and you do. We had that weekly Teams training session. It was so popular that of our 1,500 employees, we consistently had 15 attend. They all wanted to keep using Skype, but now it's Teams, like MySpace before Facebook. The second thing, the week prior to the go home order, was I was discussing with my infrastructure and security team director, I call them my inferiority team, about the what ifs and what is the thing that would be the biggest obstacle. So Richard Marshall, the curmudgeon inferiority director, said, well, our biggest problem is probably VPN. And it occurred to me, we do have controls over who can have VPN. And those controls, those require approvals from supervisors, which meant not everyone had VPN. So I said, what if we had let everyone have VPN? He said, that can be done, but they don't have the client. I said, well, let's prep for the worst case. Let's push the clients to all the machines. A quick side note, I'm assuming this audience knows a lot, so I'm going to limit my tech-splaining. In this case, pushing the client means we automatically install a VPN application on everyone's computer. Without it, you cannot connect to VPN. And trying to push that client after the fact to the machines that were not on the state network and out in the wild would be problematic. So the team did it for me. It was easy. I just said, go and do. So I leaned back in my chair and it magically happened. But it was hard and time consuming, like racing Rainbow Road in Mario Kart with your teenager. But we did it, and we did it by Thursday. I'm sorry. You're messaging me. I'm trying to read those too. Okay. We did it by Thursday, and we already had weekly reboots every Saturday. So we had to lock it. We had it locked in that week, and bang, now everyone was ready. And I thought, I really pushed the team. It's probably all wasted. We're never going to go work from home. And then Tuesday we did. We all left and we stayed gone. It was a ghost town. Did anyone stop by the office during COVID? I came back occasionally. All the plants died. Had to clean out the fridge. Found my favorite pen. So we all left on Tuesday, and that following Friday, when we had our weekly Teams training, where we only had 15 people attend, we had over 250 people attend. I'm not sure how many more tried, because at the time, 250 was the team limit. I know we got around to 260 before people started getting kicked out. Professor Scott Galloway, a professor at NYU, author and a host of several podcasts, said this of the pandemic: things won't change as much as they will accelerate. While other crises reshape the future, COVID-19 is just making the future happen faster. I paraphrase this: as COVID didn't make us more innovative, it sped up the adoption of technology. People were forced to use that tech, and it worked. Thank goodness it worked. Why do we spend so much money on IT? This is one of those reasons why. So I'm sure other people were working hard those weeks immediately following COVID, trying to figure out how to deliver that report, set up their home office, pick out their pajamas. But IT, we're on it. We're building the pyramids and collecting the infinity stones. For us, we knew how to work virtually, and we were well prepared. We didn't miss a beat, and we just started putting out fires, getting our DEQ employees functional. So fun fact, I attempt to not call employees users. Only two professions call their customers users: IT and drug dealers. Once I heard this joke, I try not to call my customers users. They may not know it, but when I say users, I just feel like I'm an enabler. Now think about Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. They're drug dealers delivering that delicious digital delight, but I digress. So fast forward, our employees have learned how to work remotely. And then we had to come back, some kicking and screaming. After learning how to drive, paying for a haircut or not, getting new work clothes because the old clothes were either too big or too small due to some crazy magic that changes the size of clothes when we're not looking, we came back to work. But not everybody came back to the office. We are now officially hybrid. So one of the key advantages of M365 in a hybrid workspace is its ability to foster collaboration. With tools like Microsoft Teams, employees can easily connect, chat, call, and meet in real time, in the office or working remotely. This level of collaboration promotes teamwork, creativity, and innovation, regardless of the physical location of employees, and helps us break down silos and foster a culture of inclusivity and collaboration. That was written by ChatGPT. We just finished an AV project at DEQ just about 3 weeks ago. We had a 2-year delay due to COVID and supply chain issues, but we have now installed over 40 Cisco room kits in our conference rooms. Not only does this allow for consistent technology in the rooms, it also creates a robust hybrid meeting experience. Now the rooms all have the same technology and work the same. Anyone can share their content during the meeting. The audio and visual is stable, and since people have adopted the tech, they know how to use the tools, Teams or Cisco. Well, mostly. You remember that lawyer who told the judge, "I'm not a cat"? So bringing outside participants is also much easier. There are far fewer issues with mixing their tech and ours. They have a MacBook, they can just join the meeting and share content, whether they're on-site or off-site. If they're on-site, they can join the meeting and share content in the room. There are no cable swaps, bringing the laptop to the front of the room. It's just so much more versatile. Hybrid meetings work well. They can be more inclusive, bring in people from anywhere, save money on travel costs, and are generally more convenient. But then you lose the nonverbal cues, side conversations, and those more important after-meeting conversations. Despite this, I think it brings more positives than negatives. When you really need a face-to-face conversation, then do that, but you have more options on how you want to work. There are some new skills to learn. Hybrid meetings can be more inclusive, but the people hosting the meeting must remember that there are people online and on-site. Depending on the perspective, you may forget one group or the other, turning being more inclusive to being more exclusive. Also, in a real meeting, people fill their water bottles before the meeting. Virtually, people may fill those water bottles during the meeting unmuted. I am certain, 100% certain, the sounds I hear are people filling their water bottles. So let's go back to VPN. That was vital in the beginning. Why do we need VPN? To access network resources and applications nestled inside the network. DEQ had rolled out SharePoint long before COVID, and those offices that were using it operationally, they didn't need VPN. Those teams were the first to be successfully migrated to remote work because they were already working virtually in a physically shared space. Now they're still working virtually in a physically separated space. We have this permitting program that uses using Microsoft Dynamics, and we have several remote contractors. They don't need access to our network resources. It's all M365. It's a faster way to make them more productive, and it's more secure for us. If Teams or SharePoint work products are set up with logic and controls, the operational benefits are staggering. And as Power Automate is adopted more, there will be workflows that can be added to these environments, making them more useful to our businesses. And you have a session on Power Automate later today. In addition to collaboration, M365 also enhances productivity in a hybrid workspace. The suite of applications provide employees with powerful tools to create, edit, and manage a host of documents and emails. With these robust capabilities, M365 streamlines workflows and enables employees to work smarter, not harder. Moreover, M365 allows employees to work from anywhere at any time on any device, which enhances productivity and work flexibility. Say it with me, that was written by ChatGPT. I don't call people anymore, I mostly Teams them. Although Teams doesn't work very well as a verb, I still try to force it. It's so fetch. What do Zoom people say? I Zoom them, what about WebEx? I web them? But Teams is where I spend half my time. People seem to respond more quickly to a Teams message versus an email. I can use the thumbs up emoji or a laugh emoji to quickly express acknowledgement, gratitude, or laughter, all without creating a stream of emails that are basically just saying thanks. I appreciate the DIT channels for communicating. DIT has a team with several channels for communicating general and some specific topics to all DIT employees. I don't have to search for emails, I can just go for the channel. Every morning, Charlie Ostott posts an uplifting video or daily quote, and Jamie Wood often posts an accompanying relevant music video to get the morning started. Now, if you're on the DIT team, or you have an agency that does something similar, you can think about this. It has slowly made its way into a daily routine. I am much more informed with the communication coming from that DIT channel. So I know you're going to a forms presentation later today, but forms for surveys inside of Teams or standalone is great. If you've never used it before, it will take you less than 10 minutes to have a basic working product. Forms turned into a great solution for us when we had to shut down an application due to security reasons. This one belonged to us, IT, and I need to lead by example and not go for an exception to policy. The front end of our ticketing system had to be shut down. We built a form to take in tickets in less than 20 minutes. We had it live and it stayed in place for 18 months, racking up 15,000 entries. Our customers even preferred that interface over the old interface, and we didn't have any problems with that. Power BI. It has a longer learning curve, but it can be powerful. So I get the monthly bill from DIT, and it would take me a couple hours to unpack that into a functional product for DEQ. OSC's CIO, Jim Talenko, created a template to move that bill into Power BI. He showed me his dashboard. Of course, I couldn't replicate it because I'm not that bright. But this is not an exaggeration. With just a couple screenshots, Johnny Jones from my team was able to recreate it. Now I send files to Johnny, and within 10 minutes, sometimes faster, he sends me a note saying it's done, and I can see my IT bill and make sense of it. Hours per month to minutes per month. He's done this with several other products within DEQ, and it is a game changer. And you have a session on Power BI later today. And I actually got the IT bill this morning, and Johnny Jones had it done in like 7 minutes. Another strong tool is Booking. Booking allows you to have a link where people can see your free time and book a meeting without any input from you. You can control a lot. You can limit by hours or certain days, how long they can book the meeting for. You can set the minimum lead time, like at least 24 hours before the meeting. And when someone uses the link to book a meeting, you get a Teams meeting on your calendar and notification, no effort on your part. I have a booking link in my signature block. If I agree to meet with a vendor, I tell them to use the link. I'm also participating in the intern program, and every intern looked great. I want to interview all of them. And now I've got 10 interviews to schedule. So I use Booking. I whipped up a second booking link, limited to the times and dates I wanted just for the interview process, and then sent them all a link. It was so much easier. Now, fair warning. What I learned is that this creates a calendar resource for each link, and most of us cannot delete this once it's created because it requires an admin. So I recommend you just modify your link if you need a change. I now have 3 links, each with its own calendar resource. I ended up with the third link because I was preparing the demo booking to DEQ during this Hack IT engagement event that I have every quarter. I'm a professional most of the time, and I created test bookings so I could go through all the motions and make sure it worked. Then I went to delete it so I could repeat it later, and then I couldn't. But guess who had already put on the very useful All Things M365 team channel late last year? Rod Parrish. He had already put this information up. I found my answer on how to delete it, and I didn't have to bother anyone. Teams is great, but it can be too good. Very much like the amount of Star Trek, very much like the amount of quality Star Trek and Star Wars media. There's just so much to watch. But when can you find the time when you have this computer in your pocket, connected to the world, that allows you to be connected all the time? Email, Teams, and meetings are all ridiculously easy on your mobile device. Did you know you can have a different Teams meeting on your phone and laptop at the same time? It's completely ineffective, but it can be done. I don't recommend or do this most of the time. So it's part of my job to be available, and it's too easy to always be available and connected. So have you ever woken up at 4:30 in the morning, signed 2 DocuSign documents, an Adobe Sign document, approved 3 leave requests, accept a meeting, then answer a message from some other connected person who sent it at 12:30 a.m., all on your phone without ever getting out of bed? Yeah, neither have I, but it can be done. So my family and I went on vacation to Japan. It was a great trip. We saw lots of very cool things and a giant robot. While I was there, I had an action that was very important, and I want to make sure it was completed. So I took a call while in Japan on Teams with video, discussed the issue. I got all that I needed, most of what I wanted. Thanks, John and Angela. And that team got to see a random side street in Japan at something like 4 a.m. because of jet lag. So I didn't need a laptop, and it barely interfered with my day. Security is also a critical aspect of any workplace. And M365 provides robust security features in a hybrid environment. With M365, we can implement those security features to safeguard our sensitive information. This comprehensive security framework gives us peace of mind and enables us to confidently embrace the hybrid work model without compromising security. Did you get it? That was written by ChatGPT. I was checking the notes to see if anybody said it. I'm not going to go deep into security. If it's M365 in the GCC, which is what DIT provides to the state, the security is there. But I did want to highlight a couple things. Mobile security. The apps on your mobile phone for Outlook and Teams. Have you ever tried to copy state data from one of those apps into a personal email? Why? You're not supposed to do that. But if you ever tried, maybe copied a grocery list and pasted it into another app, you know what's pasted? Not the contents. It pastes the text that says your organization does not allow you to do this. So it's protecting you from yourself. Impossible travel. This is where you log in from North Carolina at 10 a.m. and then log in from Moldova at 11 a.m. You cannot possibly travel from that location in 1 hour. And it's a strong indicator of a compromised account. These criminals are crafty, but people have made mistakes. And thanks to this feature, we're able to stop or limit that impact quickly. We also found that people working from home know about VPNs, and sometimes they like to show their location from exotic places like France or Madagascar, and their accounts have been locked with this feature in place. Because it's a security lock, it's not easily reversed. There are some verifications that need to take place, and it can take a couple days. Is it annoying for the customer? Yes, but they don't do it a second time. DEQ issues environmental permits. A permit is a license to pollute, but only so much. And if you exceed that allowable amount, you have consequences. DEQ has several divisions that permit, and they all use different systems or a combination of systems. It is unsustainable. This probably sounds familiar. I'm consolidating this into a single system, Microsoft Dynamics and the Power Platform. Doesn't it sound like an 80s band Prince spun off that centers around drums and saxophones? There's a lot to this project, but what I want to share is I have 2 fundamental tenets. Minimal amount of custom code and leveraging cloud to the fullest. I want a system where we spend our time creating enhancements and not a never-ending cycle of upgrading and patching that we have no hope or capacity to maintain. We spend most of our time fixing and patching systems rather than delivering value. I also want to launch it as our primary solution platform. By keeping the code as out of the box as possible, we can ride the waves of upgrades from Microsoft with minimal changes. Microsoft will upgrade. We will have no choice but to keep up. The decision to use resources for operations versus updating to the latest version of software is no longer a choice. In the past, that choice could be made, and often upgrading loses. Ultimately, this will make us more secure. The path has also led DEQ to explore and embrace many other Microsoft products in Azure services, especially like Data Factory, DevOps, Cube and Dimension data, and of course, using business intelligence. And in my case, that's Power BI. Naturally, this also opens a door for what I'm trying to rebrand from citizen developer to business developer. Words matter, and citizen developer makes no sense to anybody. But putting the low-code configurable tools into the hands of the business so they don't need IT to change a button from green to chartreuse, or more seriously, they don't need IT to change the header of a template or a workflow when a senior leader changes. As we look into the future, it is clear that hybrid workplaces are here to stay. Organizations that leverage the power of M365 can unlock the full potential of their hybrid workforce. By promoting collaboration, enhancing productivity, and ensuring security, M365 empowers organizations to thrive in the modern world of work. And that is my last GPT reference. It has been an exciting journey, and I'm still traveling, but we can see the vision coming into reality and breaking free of our legacy applications that are absolutely holding us back, creating security nightmares and wasting resources. Legacies are like the man in black fleeing across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. In this case, we're the gunslingers. What are the keynotes? Hybrid work is here to stay. Our technology is ready. Those words of the past of being able to work from anywhere at any time and any device are true. Hybrid meetings with Cisco and Microsoft products. This is working well, and COVID has allowed us to adopt the technology faster. We have a suite of productivity tools that allow us to try anything for free. If it doesn't work, we already did the prep work and we can make an informed procurement for something better. The tools are saving time and money, creating systems that are sustainable without sacrificing security. And today, you will get to learn from the best on topics that I'm not going to list because you've already signed up for them. But after today, you will know there's more available, how to use these products, and get a better perspective on how they can be used. Now, that seemed a little winding, sometimes irreverent, but I want this to be exciting. I want you to learn something. I want you to want to learn something. I want you to know that we have tools that can make your job easier. I want to help the citizens of North Carolina get what they need from the government. By policy and politics dictate the what, you dictate the how, and ultimately the ease of how citizens get that service. Every company and government agency is a tech company. Every service is ultimately delivered or managed digitally. And this audience, you are the professionals to make that experience better. Well, thanks to the M365 organizers for asking me to help start the day. Before I hand it off to Q&A, I have one last message. Bring back the animated GIFs. I need to be able to express my emotions via an animated pop culture reference. Right now, you could be inserting a guitar solo from Stranger Things, Leo DiCaprio raising a toast, or Homer Simpson fading into the bushes as I end this speech. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike. We got a lot of people who like your Dark Tower references, and so we have a lot of other fans of science fiction on the call here. We've got a few questions here and there. Let's see. One of which is about making teams work with external users. Any challenges around that? I know that we have, it's a common theme for us. You know, it's one of the biggest questions that we have, that someone is trying to share with an external user and is having issues with it. And if you could talk a little bit about that.
I will say what I know. And so one of the disadvantages of having someone at my level give this is what I do is I say, yes, this can be done. There's setup so that we have the security controls put around it and that it can be safe. However, I say put in a ticket and we have a specialist that can help you actually do that configuration. One of the things that we've been trying to do is we do have some other tools, and we ask what the need for that is, like what's the business case, because if it's just sharing files, we prefer to use something like ShareFile which is a DIT sponsored product. It's secure. It's already on a contract, so there's not a lot of work to get it. And that's far easier than trying to configure SharePoint and bring in external customers, because it is secure, but you have to pay attention to what you're doing, and pay attention to it after the fact as well, as you know, because you're going to have external people into the SharePoint environment. So we want to look at the business case and see what's the best tool to meet that need. But yes, it can be done, but you need a SharePoint admin to set it up for you. I don't recommend that the business do that without guidance.
Okay, and I've posted a link to the All Things M365 user group, which is our community of practice. And, people in our tenant are invited to join. It's a good way to get information from your colleagues, and we pop in there and help people across the state as well.
Do you want me to read some of these questions, or
Sure.
Or you got it? So Samir, is there a plan to upgrade to Windows 11? I think each agency handles that on their own. So DIT provides service to their agencies, but like DHHS, DOT, DEQ, we will have our own schedule to send those out.
Can anyone use Power Automate?
So for my agency, not anyone can use Power Automate at this time. So when I spoke briefly about the citizen developer, so business developer seems to make more sense. So we are starting to get a couple power user business people, a Power Automate or a Power license, and trying to give them some guidance. Although my team is starting to learn this as well. So it's a large learning environment. So no, not everybody can use Power Automate conceivably. So I guess we should break this question into two things. Can anyone use Power Automate? Yes, if you have a license, you can use it. But we're not giving licenses out yet because we don't have all the guardrails in place. It is something I really want to do, but it's a bit too early to let everybody in on it, because then we'd have no hope of controlling it, or those are bad words, controlling. No hope of providing the proper guidance, and it can easily spin out of control. As a fellow CIO has said, it can be the next Microsoft Access, where everyone just spins up all these databases. It's completely wild, so we lose control over it. So I want to try to do that in a smart way. So the answer is yes, but you need a license. And right now I control who gives out a license. So truly the answer is no, not anybody can use it. Steve Emery said, are we using Power Apps? Quite a few of my teams are using Power Apps. We're actually using Power Apps to, one of our targets is to replace Microsoft Access databases. So then maybe we will fall into the same trap where Power Apps will be the next Microsoft Access.
Are there plans to allow Yammer?
I don't know.
And Rod has answered, right? And Yammer is not available in GCC, which is what we're on. We're not on the commercial tenant.
Yeah, so we got generally a year once a feature hits commercial tenant. We got about a year before it hits GCC.
A number of us are confused about how the O365 products work and how they work differently on our computers versus accessing them remotely. And she's asking for a training that tries to explain all that would be very helpful.
Yeah, so that can be very agency specific. I believe that most agencies have some kind of vehicle that can cover this. We at DEQ, we have some training sessions now that admittedly they had fallen off. I have a quarterly session where we talk about Microsoft products. At least every session has at least one topic on Microsoft because those products are so out there. I know if a section or leader or higher, section chief or higher asks me, I will come in and give a talk. But yeah, the Office 365 products, how they work, and I mean it takes some practice, and then you got to find the right vehicle. And I think this group has quite a few sessions on a variety of products where you can learn about how this works. So I don't think if you're not following the M365 All Things, Karen, I'm following a lot of teams. So there's some teams that she could follow where she can see more things. I think it's the All Things M365 team, and that's where you communicate different trainings and sessions, and so those would be the resources I would look for.
And also, Diane, if you're not currently getting the All Things M365 monthly newsletter, please feel free to reach out to me. Anyone can reach out to me, karen.mann@nc.gov. I'll put my email address again in the chat, and I'll make sure you get subscribed. What would be the best alternative to the endless access databases we currently depend upon for storing our new and archived data?
Right now, I'm a fan of using the Power Automate and Power Apps. That's what my application developer, Mark Stannard, is working on. We've done a couple successful ones. It puts it in either M365 environment, and we have Azure SQL, and we also have Dynamics. So that puts it in the same kind of environment. The problem with that always is the business objection to it. They are very familiar with these access databases, and they don't want to let go of them. So we kind of got to, take a slow approach, keeping in mind that, our reason is to help the business. And so we want to be careful on the image of us ripping some technology away from them and then giving them something, then just throwing something new at them. So it's more about the approach than the actual technology. I think for us, for that to be successful. But yeah, access is a problem. And we actually had to do a service contract to bring in on vendor to handle 11 of our access databases. We just didn't have the time to do it ourselves. So there's a lot of one-time money out there, and that's one of the things we use that for.
And we've only got about 5 minutes left in the session, but we've got a question. Let's see. What one application of M365 technology has inspired you the most in the past year?
That depends on the day, but I did focus on the three that has inspired me the most, and I think it's what's in front of me that would answer that question. So Power BI, absolutely. It's a lot harder than some of the material makes it out to be, but once it's figured out, it's ridiculously powerful. Anything that we've converted over to a Power BI dashboard is fantastic. For a while, forms. I was in love with forms, the ability to do anonymous. I took some of the stuff out of my speech. I was worried about time. In my DIT at DEQ Rocks team, I put a tab for anonymous content. So I put a form link in there. I mean, you just add a tab and you hit the plus button, and then there's a form option, and then made it anonymous. And so people can provide anonymous comments to me. I don't know who it comes from. And so I was looking at forms for a lot of different things. And then booking, I don't think booking is that groundbreaking, but what I can tell you is anytime that someone says, when is a good time for us to meet? I think of two things. I'm like, one, why aren't you just looking on my calendar? Why are you telling me to do this work? And then I'm too much of a pushover. So then I go to my calendar, I grab a notebook, I start writing all the dates, right? And then I got to type them back into the email and send them over. I'm over it. So I now I have a link in my signature block. Use that. So I think those would be the three. Now, big picture stuff, if I'm answering this question from my CIO hat, it is Microsoft Dynamics, but because that's what we're using to convert all these permitting solutions into. And that's our biggest thing that's going forward. And it is, I tell you, it was rough for a couple of years. And now that we're rolling out solutions, the business loves it. We've got quotes where one of our business sponsors was just like so happy with what he was seeing. So it's been great.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate Secretary Weaver and Sherry Reed. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My name is Karen Mann. I'm on Teams today, or you can reach me at karen.mann@nc.gov. And with that, we'll end the first session. Thank you so much, Mike. And thanks everyone for being here.
Thanks, everybody.